If Prophet Muhammad were alive today, would you recognize him? If Jesus stood in front of you in a crowd, would you know who he was? If someone approached you and claimed to be Elijah, Krishna, or Buddha, would you believe them? For generations, people across the world have waited for the return of figures promised in prophecy. Every tradition seems to carry an expectation that one day history will turn and those once known will appear again. Most people assume these are separate stories, different religions, different beliefs, different futures. But what if some people are right to wonder whether these expectations overlap? What if scriptures, narrations, and religious traditions from different parts of the world are describing events that believers see as connected? And what if the question is not whether someone returns, but whether humanity would recognize them? In Christian tradition, some interpret passages in Revelation as describing a gathering of the faithful in the final days. In Jewish tradition, Elijah's return has long been associated with preparation for the arrival of the Messiah. Within Hindu traditions, many await the return or renewed appearance of Krishna during a time of moral decline. In Buddhist belief, many look toward the coming of Maitreya, the future Buddha. Across nations and centuries, a pattern appears again and again: times of confusion, times of hardship, times when people believe the world has drifted away from truth. Some religious interpretations suggest these expectations are not isolated at all. According to certain end-times beliefs, history moves in cycles. Great moments return, familiar struggles reappear, not because events repeat exactly, but because human choices repeat. In these interpretations, the struggle between truth and falsehood continues generation after generation: light and darkness, justice and power, faith and denial. Some traditions even propose that those who stood for truth in previous ages would stand again, and those who opposed them would return to oppose them once more. Not everyone accepts these ideas. Many believers reject literal interpretations entirely and understand these stories symbolically. But for those who hold these beliefs, the message is not really about identifying historical figures. It is about recognizing patterns, because history asks difficult questions. Would people who rejected truth in the past act differently today? Would people who oppose prophets suddenly support them now? Or would the same pride, fear, and attachment to power appear under new names? Religious history often remembers prophets as obvious. Looking backwards, the heroes seem easy to identify. But for those who lived through those moments, nothing appeared obvious. Prophets looked ordinary, their followers were often few, their message challenged authority, and many people rejected them while believing they were doing the right thing. Again and again, history tells stories of people choosing comfort over conviction, following institutions over conscience, following power over principle. This raises another question: if extraordinary events unfolded today, would anyone recognize them? Or would people dismiss them because they arrived differently than expected? Across history, rulers and empires have risen claiming legitimacy and authority. Kings, emperors, presidents, religious leaders. Many traditions warn that leadership itself becomes a test, not because power is evil, but because people often confuse influence with truth. Some modern religious movements interpret current world events through the lens of sacred history. They search for echoes of the past in present leaders and present conflicts. Supporters see patterns, critics see symbolism or projection, yet both sides arrive at the same question: who shapes the way we understand the world? Who decides what is true? And if truth appeared outside the systems we trust, would we recognize it? Perhaps the greatest test is not identifying a returning prophet. Perhaps the greatest test is identifying our own assumptions, because history rarely announces itself while it is happening. Most people only recognize turning points after they have passed. Every generation believes it would have chosen differently. Every generation believes it would have recognized truth, but history leaves behind a quieter question: would you? If the figures people are waiting for walked among us today, would you recognize them? Or would you walk past them and never know? The question is not who returns, the question is who you choose to follow, and whether, when truth appears, you are truly willing to see it.